Good morning, I'm Becky Scott, a staff member at the Allegheny Highlands Regional Library. We'd like to welcome you to our virtual classroom this morning where I'm going to talk about writing. And the reason I talk about writing is because I'm a retired English teacher and it's sort of my thing. For those of you out there who are uncomfortable with writing, I understand that perfectly because I taught for many years and I know that most people don't like to write. But today I'm going to talk about some easy tips and strategies to get you started. And over the course of a few weeks, we're going to work on developing things that you actually will hopefully feel comfortable with doing and want to do. These classes are geared for adults, but I see no reason why teenagers and even children of ages 9 and above probably could also do them. Today we're going to start simple with something called a gratitude journal. And you're probably thinking, what in the world is a gratitude journal? Well, here's mine. It's just a little notebook. If you don't have a notebook, that's okay. A piece of paper works just fine. You can put it on the back of your grocery list or an old envelope or anything you want to put it on. And a gratitude journal is just something where you sit down and hopefully daily think about things that you're grateful for. In this time of COVID-19 and all of the crazy stuff that's going on right now, sometimes it's hard to keep focused on the positive, good things that we need to be thankful for in our lives. It's easy to get bogged down in all of the negative things. So if you start a gratitude journal, hopefully this will remind you of what's most important in your life. Actually, studies have been done on journaling, and in particular gratitude journaling, and they show that writing things down that you're grateful for will actually help you relieve stress, and it helps you develop a more balanced approach to living everyday life, because we know there are plenty of things that go on in life that make it hard to focus on the positive things that we need to really pay attention to. So how do you do this? Well, today I'm going to show you 4 categories that you can think about. And again, you can do it on a little notebook. You can do it on a big notebook, a piece of paper, anything that you want to do it on. But what I suggest you do when you get started is that when you open, you start with the day's date and that you save these things so that maybe 3 weeks from now you look back and say, oh yes, on this date I remember I was thankful for this because. So it's a healthy reminder, especially if you're my age and you can't remember things. It's a healthy reminder of things that are going on in your daily life. It may be little things, these things may be big things. They may be negative things that you suddenly realize that something positive has come out of them. I'm a firm believer that out of every bad situation, some good comes. So we're going to look at 4 things you can put in your gratitude journal. This is not an exhaustive list, and some of the things that I suggest you write about, you may be thinking, that woman's crazy because I'm not thankful for that. And that's okay. Each person has to decide what he or she is thankful for. So the 4 areas that we're going to focus on are people, places, situations, and skills. So let me talk about each one of them. And by the way, there's a little graphic organizer. It looks like this. And it will be, the link to this will be on this recording today. So if you want to actually pull it up and download it, then you have it right in front of you. If you don't, then just grab a piece of paper and follow along. The English teacher in me says most of the things that we are thankful for are nouns. And if you remember back to your school days, a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. So that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to think about nouns that we are thankful for. These may be concrete nouns, meaning that you can physically put your hand on them, see them, touch them, smell them, taste them, feel them. Or they may be abstract nouns, things that are a little warm and fuzzy or that you can't see or hear or touch, but they're still there nonetheless. So we're going to start with probably the most important thing we're all thankful for, and that's people. Usually at Thanksgiving, we go around the Thanksgiving table and everybody at the table says something they're thankful for. And invariably, almost everybody says family. So today, in thinking about people you're thankful for and why you're thankful for those people, consider the people you're closest to first. Family usually ranks right up there. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't. But think about the people in your life who've made a difference in some way. Maybe these are people that you see every day, like your family members. Maybe these are chance acquaintances that you run into in the grocery store and they brighten your lives. It can be the gamut of anybody or that has in any way given you something to think about, given you something to consider, given you something to be thankful for. So again, usually people start with family. It extends to friends, neighbors, co-workers. Sometimes it may be people you're in clubs or organizations with. It may be that random stranger that you happen to sit beside on a bench or a seat and end up in some way being enriched by that person. So what I suggest you do is you write down as many people as you can think of, and if you're using your notebook or your lined paper, I suggest you skip a line or two, because you may want to go back and put why you're thankful for that person. If you don't, then 10 years from now when you look at your gratitude journal, you'll be thinking, who was that person and why did I write them down? Family, of course, and friends and neighbors we're going to remember. But if it's a chance encounter with a stranger, you may not remember why you were thankful if you don't put why. So if you will just make a list, maybe you'll have 3 people, maybe you'll have 23 people, maybe you'll be blessed and have 123 people. But put down the people that you are thankful for, and then write down a few words to explain why you are thankful for that person. So that's the first category of your gratitude journal, and that is people. The second category is places. And think about your happy places. Where are you happiest? What place do you feel a sense of calm or serenity, peace, purpose? Or maybe it's a high pressure, high stress workplace, but it teaches you to extend and get out of your comfort zone and do good things. So think about your places. Hopefully it's home. Hopefully it's your job or your workplace. Hopefully it's the lake, or we happen to have a little cabin that is my happy place and I always feel less stressed there. Think about your happy places. Again, you're just going to make a list. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 10. Make a list of your happy places. Skip a line between each happy place and then go back and jot down, why are you happy there? What do you feel there? Why is this your happy place? The third category in your gratitude journal is a category of situations that make you recognize your blessings. Most of the time, these situations are positive, good situations, and you immediately think, oh, I'm so blessed to have this thing that happened to me. Sometimes I've found over the years that bad situations don't make me grateful. They don't make me count my blessings. But when I go back and look at them maybe weeks or months or even years later, I understand that these situations helped me grow or helped me understand something, helped me reach out to someone in a way that I wouldn't have done otherwise. So most of these situations that you write down about that bless you are going to be positive situations, but don't eliminate the negative, because very easily the negatives can become a blessing. Again, sometimes it takes a while. And you're doing the same thing, you're just making a list. Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 5, and then telling why. So write down your situations and then think about how these situations have blessed you in some way. The fourth thing is a little difficult for most of us because we're taught to be modest and not talk about the things that we do well. But things that we do well are skills and abilities that we really ought to be grateful for. We really ought to be glad we have those things. So think about your skills. Think about your abilities. Maybe you're a handy-dandy carpenter. I wish I were. Maybe you're a good writer. Maybe you're a good communicator. Maybe you can talk to anyone. That's a true blessing to have. Not just everybody can talk to people. Maybe it's a physical skill, like you're really good at basketball or baseball. There are so many skills and abilities, and oftentimes we don't focus on them and we don't think about them because, again, we're taught to be modest about them. But think about skills that you have. Think about special abilities that you have, that you're glad you have those special abilities. If you're struggling to list them And again, your list will not look like my list, and you may have 15 and I may have 2, and that's okay. But also, beyond yourself, think about what people say to you. What things do people praise you for? What things do people think you do a good job on? Those are the things that are good to list. And you know, another thing, that's the last category I have in this gratitude journal, but another thing is, after each page in my gratitude journal, I will skip a page or 2. Because sometimes when I go back and I look at those, I think of other things that I can add. I think of things that I have recognized about myself after the fact. And it's always good to go back. I usually date them. And then I have another record of things to look for. When times get hard and things get bad, these gratitude journals are good examples to look back at and remind ourselves that yes, sometimes life just sucks, but there are still things we can be grateful for. So I hope you've learned a little bit about the gratitude journal. In our next session, we're going to talk about how to write our autobiography. And you can certainly use some of the things from your gratitude journal to be included in the autobiography. So hang on to these things. And our summer reading theme this year is Imagine Your Story. So I want you to start imagining your own story. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.